Sometimes.
Oh, okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome eventually to the February meeting of the Oak Hills Park Authority. I would like to call the meeting to order. I am just seeing basically
A quorum.
participants. So we have, let's see who we have at this moment in time. We are a little, don't have a quorum yet. There's myself, Jeff, Jennifer. We need a couple more panelists for us to have a quorum. So let me think. Can someone get in touch with Denise, maybe?
I just texted her
And Mary. I know Mary was waiting around, I believe. So
let's see if I've got Mary's contact information in my phone. Mary Verrill. I have a phone number. Here's Robert. We're getting there.
okay.
I'm calling.
Okay, Robert's in, so that's
I'm calling
great.
Mary as we speak.
No.
Jerry's in. Okay, so we have 1, 2,
Hey, it's Jim Holiday.
3,
I'm
4.
sorry
Denise
for
is
the
here.
craziness, but try logging in again. We're live.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have Alan Dutton, we have Denise, we have Jennifer, we have Robert, we have Jeff, we have a quorum. Okay, thank you. I will now take roll call. So Alan Dutton is here. When I call your name, if you could just say aye or here. So Denise Brown.
Here.
Jeff Schweitzer.
I'm here.
Jennifer McAllister.
Here.
Robert Stowers.
Here.
Gary Leeds.
Here.
And that's all I see at this moment in time. My apologies, everybody. We had a technical glitch, which was beyond our control, not really anything to do with us, unfortunately. So thank you all for your patience. I'd like to, could I have someone to move to accept the minutes, please?
So moved.
Gary Leeds, second, please.
Second.
Okay, the minutes have been sent out to you. Does anybody detect any errors or omissions in the minutes that were sent to us? Are there any changes that would need to be made?
I have two, Alan.
Okay.
On page 1, under acceptance of minutes, under the star, next to the stars, it should say Mr. Leeds moved to approve the minutes of December 19th, 2024.
Right.
And on page 6, under controller's report, in the second paragraph on the 5th line down, it should say the year to date, not year to day. So the word day should be changed to date. And on the final line of that paragraph, it should say December, January, and February would be the period when it is more recoverable to have income under budget.
And I do note for the minutes that we did produce the actual chart of the proposed increases that were voted on, so they were included. Are there any other errors or any omissions or additions that any committee member would like to make? They're hearing none. I would like to move that we accept the minutes. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any against? Any abstentions? The minutes are approved. Thank you. Public participation. Mr. Holliday, is there anybody in the waiting room with their hands up? Jim, you there?
There's not. He's on mute.
He's on mute. Jim,
I
on mute.
I can see that there is R. Lombardi. If you can hear us, can you put your hand up if you'd like to speak? Or if you're just here to listen, then you could leave it as is. Oh, I see Mary. Is that Mary Verrill? Mary, I'm promoting you to panelist. There's no hand up, so I don't think anybody wants to speak.
Okay, no public participation. Public participation is now closed. Item 5 on the agenda is the reports, and the first one is my report, the report of the chair. Jim Shell, during his report, will update us on some staffing issues that we've had in his department. Under new business, we're going to talk about employee benefits. We've been doing some research on that, and we would like to have a proposal for you, some information on how we're going to be improving our benefits here at Oak Hills. And I'd like you all be thinking about capital projects that are going to, in the next year, we're going to be, talking about the budget. We're going to be talking about capital projects. So let's be thinking in the area, areas of you that may have some responsibility, where we're going to spend our money during this next upcoming capital year. Let the minutes reflect that Mary Verrill did join the meeting at 7:30. Mary, my apologies about keeping you out there and all this. It was a bitch. So let the minutes report that. Do we have John Lloyd with us? It doesn't look as if we do.
They're having an event tonight at Odine, so I don't know. He may be there.
Fine. So no report from the restaurant, John Lloyd. Item C under reports is Nature Advisory. Mary, are you there?
Yep.
Excellent. Would you like to update us on what's going on in the nature area? Mary, I think you're on mute at the moment.
Run away.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Hey, there you go.
there you go. Get it sooner or
Nice to
later.
see you.
Not too much new. The path remediation is awaiting weather. As soon as the weather gets nice, we can get going on that. I have the area over by the dumpsters. That's going to be fixed as soon as the weather cooperates. I've got Mike Mushak and David Westmoreland, Tulip Tree Design, are going to remediate that area for us, free of charge, by the way. I think I have an Eagle Scout on board. And if you have an Eagle Scout, they bring their whole troop. So I'm working on that at the moment. I'm hoping they'll come through with that. And they're going to do the signage and the path remediation. We put in Lori Morrison, Mark Gardner, and I. We just submitted a grant with the Society of Women Environmental Professionals for $2,000. We put that in on February 14th, and we're hoping to get some money to do the cleaning and the path remediation through that. So we'll see what comes of that. I don't know. We've never done it before, so we're gonna try. Let's see. The alternative lawn is in, and we're again waiting for spring to see what comes up. And I have a meeting next Wednesday to discuss the long-range planning. And that's about it. That's about all I have. The only other thing I can think of is, I don't know if the Oak Hills Authority is interested in getting involved with the Earth Day events in the city. The Earth Day events on the green they bring in a couple thousand people. I don't know if we want to get involved in that or not, but that's just a thought. But that's about all I have for the. We're just waiting on the weather so we can get moving.
Mary, how,
Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions for Mary?
yeah, Mary, how would we participate in Earth Day?
I don't know. I don't know. It just, as I was sitting here, preparing, I've been going to some of the meetings and, Fodor Farm, Fodor Farm has a table there and they set up and, so there is precedent for the city of Norwalk. Well, the city of Norwalk is actually doing a lot of the, footwork and groundwork, in helping it set up. Um, I don't know. I don't know if the golf course needs, do we need to advertise? I don't know.
I believe we
I-
had one in 2021. The mayor showed up. They gave everybody a little tree. Jim was there, I believe, but they were there once
yeah.
in the Great
Well,
Lawn.
yeah, well, and certainly the nature center could use the publicity, and of course that might bring more people over to Odine's. The more we can advertise, we can maybe get more people over there.
I see no reason why it might be a good idea. Jim Holiday, you might want to basically coordinate with Mary and see if that's something that we would it'd be a good exposure for us. I think, especially on the nature side. I think Earth Day to show what we're doing.
I can talk about this a little bit, because my staff is involved in the what we're calling actually the Earth Month, and so and we've always participated on the green, and so we will have a table there or two, and parks. I'm talking about recreation and parks, and I'm sure that if there was something to contribute from the nature center, that they could join and have a table as well. Also, though, for the rest of the month, we're going to be having, and we're planning it. My staff is planning it, having events throughout the city at some of the schools, Cranberry School, out at Cranberry Park. Some of our friends groups, the Friends of Cranberry Park, the Friends of Norwalk Dogs, the Friends of Woods Pond. Some of them are going to be doing events throughout the month, so the month of March. So yeah, so that's, I think it would be a good thing, but that's kind of what's going on.
That sounds great. Yeah. Maybe I could sit down with you and we could just put our heads together. As I
Well,
said,
I can have Elsa call you. She's really heading up everything, or Sarah.
Okay.
And we're also thinking about, I don't know if you might want to do something out there. So the mayor or some of the staff, or during the month. I don't know what you can plan out there, but we want Earth Month to be more than just the green. And so that's why we're kind of spreading it out.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. Yeah. I can bring that up at my meeting on Wednesday also and see what we can do. I would very much like to be part of that.
That's great.
Yeah, I think we ought to consider, advertising the whole park and not just the nature trails. It never hurts to remind people that we have a golf course and tennis. Okay. Reminding them about nature would be great as well, because I don't think too many people even know about it. So, but I think we ought to advertise the whole park as well.
I agree. I agree.
That's great. Thank you all so much. Any further questions for Mary? Thank you. Next item, item D, tennis. Denise?
Good evening, everybody. It's good to see everybody. So for the tennis report, Gary, I don't have a lot, but we did meet our long-range planning meeting. We had our second one last weekend. And it was an interesting meeting because we had a fella come down who was a friend of one of the ladies who was involved in the long-range planning. His name is Mark McIntyre. And he was the former executive director of the Riverside Clay Tennis Association, which is in New York on 96th Street. And I've never seen the courts, I've never been there, but he helped run a program there for about 15 years. It was a pretty much ran on donations, but they had a very active group of tennis players that would come, they would play, they would help take care of the courts. They did hire a head pro to give lessons, and the head pro did staff it with college kids and high school kids in the summer. They had a very active kids program. They have red clay courts, so we have the hard shoe court, so it's slightly different. But he just was very interesting and gave us a good perspective of the possibility of running programs and how successful it can be. And once you kind of open it up to the community, there's a lot of people that become more interested in what's available out there. So that was very interesting. I'm meeting with David Kamani from Grassroots next week, so we're going to further discuss having the Arthur Goldblatt tournament in late August or early September. He wants to find sponsors to help us, which would be very wonderful if he could get sponsors to come in. And that we'll talk about more. And the supporters has a good balance into their supporters account, their tennis account. There's about $17,918, and we just received another donation from a foundation for $2,500. So we'll have a little over $20,000. And that's kind of what is going on right now. You know, it's quiet, very quiet. No tennis except for indoor tennis right now.
Did the fence get done?
It looks like it's about 90% done. The weather definitely has caused delays. And so I'm sure that, Jim, I don't think you have anything to update at this point, because I think we're just kind of stuck in the weather.
Yeah, we're stuck in the frozen tundra and snow-covered court and unable to, it's too cold for men to work outside, so no.
So they were there today and actually took away something. I drove past it and there was like a bulldozer or something on the court. They were actually taking that away. I'm not sure what that means, but anyway. Any further questions for Denise on tennis? Being none, thank you, Denise. Item E is supporters of Oak Hills Park. Jerry.
Hello, everybody. January is our month to do our duty, and we sent out 34 letters acknowledging donations to Oak Hills Park. And that's it. Unless financial numbers will be later on when the fiscal year completes.
Thank you, Jerry. Any questions for Jerry? Okay, thank you very much. Item F on the agenda is long-term planning. Gary Leeds.
So you heard from Denise and Mary a little bit what they're doing. I'm sorry TJ's not here. I know he had another meeting with First Tee and made some progress with them, so I'm not going to discuss anything that's going on. It seemed to be a very positive meeting, and until we have some better understanding exactly what our relationship would be with them, there's no sense speculating on that type of stuff. I will start meeting with everybody next month and try and have a better update as to where we're going. So that's about all I have at this point.
Thank you, Gary. Any questions for Gary at this moment in time?
Yeah, I have a question for Gary. Our group, community and staff involvement met last week, and we had a very productive meeting. And at this point, we are trying to create a mission statement for our subcommittee. And it would be very helpful for our committee to have reports from the other committees to see what they're doing, where they're going, what do they see their role in this process. The idea of having subcommittees, I think, is very productive because it's a big task, but for some communication between the different groups, it might provide insight and direction for the others. So I'll just leave that as a point. and I can, follow through with Gary another time.
Sure, that sounds good, and I think you're right, we should have communication. I think everyone's just kind of getting started, and I think we'll put together some better communication as we move forward.
And what I'll do, Gary, is I'll follow through with you with the information that we have created in starting our group, and you can share that with the others with hopes that they might do the same for us.
Okay, I'll make sure we have something circulating next month.
Thank you.
Okay, item G is our golf professional, Paul Alexander. Paul, if you'd like to bring us up to date, what's been
Sure.
going on?
Okay, thank you, Alan, and good evening. So February is here, and it's the heart of the winter, and our golf course has been closed for the majority of the last 30 days. Last year at this time, we were open 22 out of 30 days. So you can see there's a big difference this year. Winter golf shop hours continue to be 9:30 to 3. We have 6 inside and 2 outside staff members when needed. We have a great golf operations staff, and I anticipate everyone returning and not much need for many, if any, new hires. I believe 42 annual passes have been sold, 219 golf memberships, and at this point last year, we had only sold 193 golf memberships. So considering how cold it is, we've definitely sold some more golf memberships. So I think that shows happiness people have with Oak Hills Park, and looking forward to play. All 2025 outing applications have been sent out, and we have 23 events on the schedule at this time, and only 2 available dates, and one of those dates might be taken soon. So I really believe this might be the most outings in the history of Oak Hills Park has ever had in one year. And I really think it shows the continued strength, popularity of golf, and the desire for golfers to play at Oak Hills Park. The 4-up tee sheet and software program has been completed and is in use. Our entire golf shop staff has been training on it, thoroughly trained, and is already very familiar with it over the off season. I anticipate 4-up being much more user-friendly for our staff and for our golfers, and I really believe it'll increase Oak Hills Park's revenue at the end of the year. Recently, I attended the 2025 PGA show in Orlando, Florida, seeing all the new merchandise, all the new trends in the golf industry, and as well as some good networking. And I will say the show is getting bigger again. You can see the strength of the golf industry. And the big hype was all of the simulators and just all the ways you can play golf indoors. And it's really grown every year. Anyway, golf, the numbers across the board are great in all categories. It remains strong. And I'm really looking forward to a busy spring and a great 2025 golf season.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions for Paul, please?
Yeah, I have one, Paul.
Mhm.
When you were looking at all the simulators, did any of them stand out did you see the difference between them, or did any of them stand out that you really thought were one better than
Oh,
the
yeah.
other? Yeah.
Well, it really comes down to money. I mean, you could spend a lot of money on these things, and some
Yeah.
are commercial, some are for home use, but there's just a lot of varieties. And they're just getting better and better every year.
And
Oh.
more expensive? every
Now,
year?
actually, prices are coming down because it's getting more competitive.
Well, that's interesting to
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Getting better and better.
Thank you. Any other questions for Paul? Next item on the agenda is our Greens Superintendent, Jim Shell. I'll just quickly preface, before Jim's report, that I think Jim's area is the one area where we are experiencing, issues of pay and benefits, etc., that have really affected the department. There's a lot of competition out there in this area. And when we go out in the marketplace and we look and see what different people are paying, we find ourselves probably under where we should be. We've had some open positions, which Jim will tell us about what we've been able to do about it and what we still have open now. So Jim, take it away.
Sure. All right. So our first position that became open was the foreman position. And that was Jeff. He had been here for 32 years. on the staff, across four superintendents, excuse me. And he was a great dude. He did anything we asked. He was a company man, but he found an opportunity to get some better benefits, and he took it. And I don't blame him. I mean, I can't possibly do that. But we've replaced him, and I think I found a pretty good guy so far. The second guy to leave was our assistant, and that's an ongoing, issue with this business, is that the municipal course is less likely to get assistants, or the first ones to lose assistants, just because it doesn't have the resume power, and it doesn't have the benefit package, the pay, et cetera. So that's okay. I have an offer out to somebody. I do have a guy coming in for an interview tomorrow. And then the third position we lost. These are all full-time guys, mind you. I mean, they're here year round, and we've been short a few weeks. The third position is a mechanic. He's taken a job that just plain and simple pays more. And once you learn how to do the tricks of the trade, you become, as a golf course mechanic, a commodity, and you could easily be swayed away by another place. It's just a tough situation for us, but we found a guy. He's coming from a lawn equipment company, like a small equipment company, sales place up in Danbury. He's a great guy, and apparently he's catching on already. He's learned how to sharpen, and he's doing it by himself already. And I think it's going to be a smooth transition for that. So really, as far as staffing, all we're waiting for is locking up an assistant. And if that doesn't happen, we have to, make some adjustments as to what kind of people we do have on the staff, because I do need to make some other hires to complete the staff. There's always, in the spring, there's always 2, 3, 4 people at the beginning of the season that need to be re-upped, so to
So,
speak.
Jim, if I could just come here a minute, there is, increases in pay that we've had to compare to what we actually, originally budgeted for this year, especially in the mechanics position. A pretty substantial increase, I think, Jim. Definitely a few dollars more that we had to pay to come up to the marketplace in the actual mechanic position. In the foreman position, maybe not as much a difference between the person who left and the person coming in, or how
Right.
did that work out pretty much?
Right. That's pretty comparable.
Right.
The gentleman with us now, he's fairly flexible. So he, I think that Cigna is dropping us, and he said we might as well wait until whatever new company comes in.
Yeah, I have some good news on that,
So you
so I'll let you know about that.
Okay, that's
Decent, yeah.
I like to hear that.
And I think if I just say, on the superintendent position, the salary that for the assistant doesn't, you do add on an apartment, which is worth, say whatever, $25,000. So whereas, I think we're competitive for municipal courses, we may not be competitive compared to, courses that are for, private courses. But
right, I understand that logic, but there is a time when the people that are looking for a job don't care where they go sometimes.
Yeah.
Just looking at what is offered. So that's kind of like our competition. It's hard to compare apples to apples when they're not the top guy. I understand the whole thing. It's just a tough situation that we have to work our way through. And I think we're on our way to doing it. So
good. You sound a bit happier this month than you were last month.
yeah, well, I just got back from Florida for a week, so
Key West.
yeah.
Good.
What a great place.
What else you got there?
Okay, so Next thing to talk about is the bunker project phase 2. Okay. So I had the ability to just get one quote, but I decided to get 2 just in case. And they both came in and they were both complete with 11T being moved over a little bit and rebuilt. They both came in right under 240,000, but I think that that's a big nut to chew off at this point in time. So I asked to rebid at, well, with the fairway bunkers left out of the quote. And one company came in probably $10,000 less than another. And I think that both companies surely have the ability to do the job up to snuff, no problem. And so what I'm recommending is phase 2 without the 8 fairway bunker, 9 fairway bunker, 12 fairway bunker, or the range bunker being done for, I'm looking for $180,000 of approval. And I asked for it now because we haven't done our budgets yet for 2026. And I'd like to get it approved so that we can lock in the contractor for the timing that we want to do it.
And if I could just say, doing that now would be absolutely a perfect timing because we're going to start building budgets very shortly. And if we know this is in place, this is obviously going to be the biggest chunk. We will adjust accordingly based on that.
So, a couple of things here. Golfers, fairway bunkers. What are the thoughts on that? Doing, not doing? Jim, the reason why we don't need to do them, they're not as in bad shape, they're not used as much. What is the reasoning behind that, just for the layman or whatever?
Sure. The old sand that we used in the fairway bunkers back in 2015-16, it's the sand has a wide variety of particle sizes, which enables it to firm up a lot better than other sands. And that's actually a more desirable lie. I feel like, Paul, is that a more desirable lie in a fairway bunker?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Firm, especially for higher handicappers.
So for now, I mean, if we're gonna skip any to make this project happen and have all the greens be consistent next to the green in a green side bunker, that we can get away with skipping those. It's also they're relatively flat. They don't suffer major washouts. They do get washout, but not major, not like number 9 green or 14 green or some other greens that we have done already. And so we won't lose a lot there. 10 fairway, we've got to do number 10 fairway because that is one of the original bunkers on the course. And only a few years ago did I actually cut the fairway towards it so that we could actually bring it back into play. But now we have to change it literally from dirt back to sand. And if we're going to do that, then let's just rebuild it. It needs to be done. It's going to be a different shape. It's going to be more attractive, and it'll be more in play for lower handicap golfers because it'll stick out more into the fairway a little bit. So that's that.
Any comments from any of our authority members about the fairway bunkers?
I guess, Jim, is it really necessary to bring it out to make it a hazard for the, did you say the lower handicaps or the higher handicaps?
Lower.
Oh, for the lower, so they may drive it?
Exactly. I don't think that any of the higher handicaps are really reaching that bunker where it is.
Right. And
so that fairway has got to be 40 yards wide, as you know.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, if somebody's gonna be a big hitter, well, they gotta watch out a little bit, at least.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. And second shots for us weaker golfers, it shouldn't be in play?
Should not, absolutely not. You better be going over that, Gary. You better.
Yeah, I usually am.
It's not gonna stick out that far. I mean,
Okay.
it's not like it's crossing the whole fairway.
Okay, but the 12th fairway is not gonna be done and the 8th fairway is not gonna be done,
Or the 9th,
or the 9th,
right,
the 9th.
left side.
Or under the power lines.
Under the power lines, Gary.
Okay,
You don't reach it.
no. Oh, okay, I know where you are. All right.
Yeah,
So
those-
that's not gonna be done either. Okay, yeah. All right, that's the one I'm always in.
Okay,
How's that
so
possible? You didn't even know it was there.
Well, it's been a long time since I played.
I kind of like the idea of reducing the scope down from 240 down to 180 because,
Definitely.
it's a 60,000. Who knows what's going to be, what projects we have. We've got irrigation in tennis coming up. We've got, we always seem to have these things happening to us.
Sure.
I think it makes sense to go down to the and the two bids were 180 and 188, I believe. And this is a different contractor, Jim. Is that correct? Compared
It
to the
is,
one?
it is,
And
but
you're
I've got,
comfortable because the last one, I think that did a good job, but there've been some issues moving forward with different changes in personnel. Is that correct?
yeah, we're not really sure. I can't really say, but the different contractor, this other guy, I've got multiple good references on, and I have every assurance that there's not going to be a problem with anything that we do here with him.
So hearing all the information from my controller, from green superintendents and other authority members, I'd like to propose that we set the number at for the capital project for the second phase of the bunkers in capital year 2025-2026 to be reduced from 240 down to 180. Can we have someone to propose that?
Can I ask one question, Alan?
Yes.
Does that include a contingency, Jim?
That is including everything we have to buy, sand and sod around the bunkers, and a $15,000 contingency. I only say 15 because while we have less possible drainage on old bunkers to connect to existing drainage, I did have a reason, I swear.
That's one of them. So I trust you've reviewed it.
But that is, if we end up paying 180, I'll give you all $100. How about that? It's not going to happen.
Okay,
Um,
You mean we're not gonna get the $100?
That's correct.
could I actually I could propose it. I'm going to propose that. Do you have a second?
fine, I'll propose it that I
Thank you,
propose that we approve the 180,000 high mark for the second phase of the bunkers as Jim described them.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Denise. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Again, any against? Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Thank you all.
Can
Jim,
I
anything else?
Yeah, can I just ask Jim?
Just a
One-
quick note about the past couple weeks of weather. We did get a bunch of snow and then a bunch of rain afterwards, and the snow acts a little bit like a sponge and holds that rain. And I did some investigating today. While we clearly have some skating rink like spots on greens, everything that looks like snow does have ice underneath it, and I just want that to be, I'm going to try to do some things to remediate the ice issue on the grass before it becomes a problem. But just know that, I did give you a heads up that something may happen because it's pretty severe if you even just drive around, even by the ball fields or whatever, you can see the ice on top of the snow. That's all.
Hey, Jim, on Sunday, it looks like we're going back into the 40s. It should be warmer next week. You think that should take care of all of this snow and ice in a week from now, maybe?
We hope so. I mean, once it turns to ice, it takes a little longer for it to go away, right? So we hope.
Okay.
Gary, you had something else at all?
Yeah, Jim, I did, since we're not going to do those couple of fairway bunkers now, would we ever redo those, or we
Sure.
would just adjust the sand?
Sure, maybe the following year. I mean, they are flat enough where we could get away with not putting the liner in the bottom of it, or maybe we can find another liner that will suffice. Like I've heard of guys using recycled AstroTurf on the bottom,
Yeah,
and then you put the sand on top of that, and it kind of acts the same way. I mean, there's a bunch of options we can try, but we can certainly change out the sand, or at least mix it with some of our new stuff to make it more consistent with what we have by the greens.
and are we going to take out those bunkers on 11, the fairway bunkers on 11?
Yes. Yes.
All right, sounds great.
Okay, Jim, thank you very much for your report, and welcome back.
Thank you all.
Next item is item I, controller, Mark Gartner. So Mark, we have numbers, obviously hard numbers for December, preliminary numbers for January. I understand you're going through some stuff with the new system maybe bringing some of the numbers over and stuff.
Yeah, there's it's
give us an
simply,
update.
yeah, it's those monthly sales reports. There's the last 2 pages that are normally in my financial package. One is fiscal, one is calendar. There's a lot of detail behind that purely comes from our POS system, and it's mapped. I mean, it's hundreds of lines, and it's this SKU means junior golf membership. This is a junior golf round, and so forth. And you have that for seniors. You have it for twilight, for off peak, and so forth. So there's a lot of information, and with the new system, everything looks a little differently. It's not an actual numbered SKU, as Paul can tell you. It's simply a description. So I've got to match up descriptive items to make sure it's the same thing that we're talking about. And so I was going back and forth with Steve a little bit today, and being that it's only January and we don't have that much, we didn't have much play at all. This will be an ongoing thing as we open up and start having all of our categories and more people come to play. But just trying to map the beginnings of it is just it's a slow, monotonous process. So that's why I haven't actually sent the financials out to everyone yet. I'm still working on that. But just to get back to these numbers here have not changed. So even though they're called preliminary, these should be the final numbers. And as Paul mentioned before, the course is closed a lot, and Jim said we got ice all over, so you can definitely expect February to be the same as January, with coming in under budget on revenue, and versus last year, it's not going to be a good month. So we're going to have another month of losing money, of coming in under budget, not looking great. But again, this is the off season, so it's all right. But I am glad to hear, to be honest, Jim, that that 240 was taken back to 180, because we're starting to burn money. And my plan is the week after next, as we get into it, this is a payroll week, and as we hit payroll week in 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be checking our bank balance, because the bank balance at our operating account. We have plenty invested elsewhere in other banks, and I just may need to start moving money over to cover, because we're going down. Once we turn, once we open and have carts, whenever that is, I don't think it's going to be March 15th. By the end of March, hopefully, then at that point, that's when we start breaking even. And then as the days get longer and it gets warmer, we start making money again. So in April, but to bridge that gap, the most likely will be a need to transfer some money. Jim H. and I have been working together on both health and business insurance, as Alan mentioned before as well. It's just renewals. We do it every year, but this year, just for various reasons, we've been looking at other companies and just taking a little bit more time. I also plan on beginning the budgeting process for FY26 next week to get an early start. Usually it's March, but if I can just start getting some files out to Paul, Jim, and performing things. It'll just make it easier, and hopefully we can get it done in the May meeting. That would be my goal this year versus the June meeting. And that's it for me.
So I think we lost about, compared to budget in December, we were about 25, maybe 30,000, 25, 29,000 under our, we lost 29,000 more than we did, that we budgeted. And I think February is going to be about the same. Looking, January, we basically, our ID cards were higher. Our golf was lousy. So I anticipate similar. We had some other expenses as well, losing another 29,000. So we've probably given about $60,000 back, about the 139 we were ahead. So we're still ahead on a year-to-date basis, but would be great if March was to start to kick in a little bit. So
my thoughts exactly, Alan. Absolutely. Yeah.
Any questions for Mark?
Well, the groundhog was surely right this time.
Yeah, good point, Denise.
Thank you. Item J, Mr. General Manager, James.
Thank you, Alan. Unfortunately, this month I spent a lot of time working on heating issues again. Other areas that required quite a bit of focus were staffing, general maintenance. Mark mentioned he and I have been working on both health insurance and property and casualty, and also spending a little time on promotional items. Just another January, February at Oak Hills, and we move forward. It's all in the report. Any details that anyone wants to get to me offline or now, that's it.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions for Jim, our General Manager?
Jim, I'd like you and I get together and talk about the irrigation proposals. Maybe, have a conversation next week or something. I had a lot of questions.
That'd be great. I'd love to.
Okay, thank you.
I'll throw out some times and dates and I'll pick one.
Okay, I will do.
Thank you.
Item number 6 on our agenda this evening, old business. Does anybody have any old business to bring in front of the authority?
Yeah, I just want to bring up, I asked about pace of play, and Jim Holliday sent to us a report that Tom had put together, and that was very helpful. And I think we ought to, the one thing that he did say is that our new system has the ability to keep track of, I guess that's carts, people who take carts at least, their time they go out and the time they come back. And so that'll be a real good piece of information to keep track of pace of play. And maybe somewhat either in our scorecards or maybe something at our starters desk, we can at least publicize our expected pace of play maybe, and that people are supposed to keep up with the group ahead of them, and maybe have to skip a hole if they get too far behind. But thank you for sending that out, Jim.
Yeah, Paul will also be working on that project when he's physically in Connecticut as well.
Right.
Primarily Paul.
It's a great start.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, next item on the agenda is item 7, new business. Employee benefits. I'll kind of take the lead on this a bit because I am pretty familiar with benefits and having managed them for quite a few years in my prior career. So a lot of the things we hear about, why we're losing staff, hourly, staff that are on a full-time basis is the benefit package we have. One of the problems we have is we're so small. There's only, our benefits are for full-time employees. We don't have that many full-time employees, 4, 5, 6. Some of our full-time employees are on their spouse's benefits or elect not to take it. And when we look at employee benefits, the two things, there is what's good for the employer and what's good for the employee. Obviously, for the employer, we look at the cost, and because we're such a small group, the cost is very prohibitive for us. We do have our participants do pay a percentage, which is kind of standard for all businesses. Normally do make their employees pay a certain percentage. We do that. We're not higher or lower than what industry standard is. We're very close to that. And then you look at what do the employees get for what we have. So, with such a small group, we have these high deductible plans whereby the employee has to pay so much money, $9,000 single, $4,500 before benefits kick in if you're single, $13,000. It's really prohibitive. So I thought, let's go out and see what can we do. And we approached the city of Norwalk, and city of Norwalk was very helpful. We spoke that, Rich Dellinger approached them, and other people, Jim did as well. We spoke to their director of human resources, and they said, well, we self-fund. My idea was, let's partner with the city of Norwalk. Well, they have self-funded, which means they pay a lot of the payments, a lot of the awards themselves, and they self-insure for the really high items. So they said, but there is this thing out there called Connecticut Partnership Plan. And the Connecticut Partnership Plan is available to other non-state public employees who work for municipalities, boards of education, and quasi-public agencies and public libraries, i.e. us. So we are eligible to join this group. And the benefits that they have compared to what the marketplace is just on a big picture basis. As an individual, we have coverage not just for single, but for a spouse as well, for two people. The maximum out of pocket is $700, or is what they deductible. I have to meet $350 each, compared to $3,500 and $9,000 for Oxford and for Anthem. It's so much better. If you go to a primary care, go and see your doctor, it's a $15 copay. If you go to see a specialist, it's a $15 copay, compared to $50 with these other, with Anthem and with Oxford. The prescription drugs are $5 for the generic, and then up to $10 and $20. It's just a much better plan. From a cost perspective, it's similar to Oxford and Anthem, but the benefits are so much better and so much more competitive. So I met with Jim Holiday, met with Mark Gardner, and I think this is definitely the direction we need to go in. So that's a quick update on benefits. And we, at the end of March, I think, Mark, if I'm correct, is when we switch over to the new plans. So
yeah, the business insurance is March 1 and health insurance is April 1.
April 1. So end of March. So I think that's good news. I'll be happy to take any questions or any comments. So
Alan, go ahead, Denise.
Is this a new program, or is this something that we just?
No, it's been around. I don't know, but I would. This is not something. I don't think it's something new. I think it's been there all the time, to be honest with you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jim has the information. If anybody wants a copy of it, it's called the Connecticut Partnership Plan. A great opportunity for very valuable healthcare coverage. A low, no deductible points of service POS plan to you and your eligible dependents. So.
Well, this is obviously way better.
Yep.
Is it strictly just health? Like there's no supplemental insurances with that? Dental, vision.
Yes, I believe it includes dental and vision, at least to a certain extent.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about that, but I think we have to do more research on that, to be honest with you. Maybe it's got a dental and vision rider, I think, if applicable, which we can look at and see what the cost benefit is on that. Yeah, could be.
And actually, one dental cleaning per year and one eye exam per year are included. I will just hasten to say, I have made, after Alan and Mark and I met, and it became very clear that this is a far more advantageous plan than the one that we're currently enrolled in. I made I filled out a preliminary application. And they came back with a bunch of questions. And Mark was able to fill in a few because they had questions about the structure of our organization. So we are optimistic, but we don't have word yet. So I will keep you all posted when they accept us into the plan. But yeah, it just sounds like a real game changer. And so
Definitely.
I'll let you
Thank
know.
you for that. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the definition is non-state public employees who work for municipalities, boards of education, quasi-public agencies, and public libraries. So, I don't know. Let's hope.
I'm interested to see if it all works out, because to me, it just seems like it's too good to be true, right?
Yeah, it sounds that way.
Yeah, you know,
I
it is.
don't know
Let's
what
see.
I'm missing here.
And they have a list, Jen, of dozens of organizations that have 1, 2, or 3 employees on it. So it sounds just like the Oak Hills Park Authority, because at this point, we would likely have 2 employees who would enroll in the plan, and well, two today. So
Does the cost to Oak Hills come back comparative to the old plan, or
Very much so.
similar.
yeah?
So Paul, keep this in mind because you're one of the employees.
Yeah.
But everything should be better.
Okay. Any other questions on the benefit plan or in benefits in general? Okay. Does anybody else have anything on the new business? So item 8 on the agenda is the adjournment. So I will take a look and try and find out what happened. Jim and I will do some research, and Mark, just to see what happened with, the reason why we were half an hour late today. I do apologize to everybody for keeping them on time, but I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Do you have a proposal?
I'll propose a motion to
moved.
adjourn.
Second?
I'll second it.
Second,
Yeah,
Gary.
by saying, all those in favor, please say
Aye.
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 I think we're unanimous.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Good
Night,
night.
Thank you.
Stay
Good
warm.
Good night,
night.
everyone.
The 20th.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.